Joe, does Mariano Rivera cease to amaze you? I mean, he seems to have come into camp ready to go. He even took what looked like some extra ground balls before heading into the clubhouse. Does he ever cease to amaze you?
Yeah, it's you look at what he's done over his career and the age that he is, and still doing it, and coming off a serious injury, and very prepared for spring training. We really don't have a whole lot of restrictions on Mo, but we will watch him carefully to make sure that we don't think he's taxing it too much and pushing it, but it is pretty amazing.
To see Cervelli, what he had to go through, talking to us earlier today about topics that nobody wants to talk about, do you feel for him today?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of our guys, and you don't ever want players to be in uncomfortable situations and have to deal with things out of the norm. But it's going to happen to players, and they have to figure out how to focus on the job at hand and be able to separate, distractions.
Did I hear you correctly? There's no restrictions on Mo as we go forward?
I mean, we're not saying that we're going to watch his running, we're going to watch his PFPs, and we're basically going to ask him how he feels every day. And if it seems to bother him, then you might say, okay, well, you're not going to do PFPs every day. Maybe it's every other day. But I mean, we feel pretty good about where he's at. Bruce?
Joe, how did Mariano look to you? 25 pitches. I mean, how do you evaluate his pitch?
It looked normal to me. It looked like, the first day of spring training for any year that I've been here. So, the command was there. He took it nice and slow. He didn't try to overthrow. He's been doing it for so long. I think he's pretty aware of what he has to do.
What was the first day like, just in general, to see the group together?
It's good to get back, get back to work, and see us trying to get better each day. I mean, that's the goal, and I think it's always fun for the guys to be around each other. You don't see a lot of your teammates all winter long, and you get together, and it's they talk about things they did. And it's nice.
What did it mean for the other pitchers to see Mariano out there? Because he wasn't really upbeat. He was smiling, having a good time, and kind of interacting with the guys as they were going through the workout.
Well, I think it's important. He's one of our leaders, and he's been a leader here for a long time, and I think that his presence is important to all the guys, but especially the guys that are his bullpen mates, and it means a lot.
Who else? Mark?
Joe, is this going to be a little bit of a different spring for you watching Mariano in terms of, in almost every year it's sort of, all right, Mo's going to go out to throw his innings, he'll be fine, and you don't have to worry about it. Do you watch it more carefully and make sure that, he's not favoring anything, or that, he is where he needs to be? Is that more of a concern this spring?
Yes, it is. Any time a player comes off an injury, you watch him, a lot closer than you would normally, and not pitching the whole year. You want to make sure he bounces back from his bullpen's okay, that he's using his legs like he always did before. He's moving around fine, and we'll watch him.
To have Andy in camp from the start, it's always important to have people in from day one, but even more so for him?
I think so, for him to get ready for a long season, what we hope to be a really long season, for us. I think it's important. Last year he was in this time as a coach, I think. So he was here in the beginning. He just took a little break. And we don't want to give many breaks this year.
Ron, can you pass his beat?
Thank you. Yeah, I guess right at this point last year, Andy was a retired player. Do you think if he had a full year without the injury that 2012 might have been his last season, and you think fortunate that this could be it for Andy this year?
No, I don't necessarily think that would have been the case. I think that Andy still loves to compete and still believes that he can do it at a high level. So, I wouldn't say that this would be his last season. I can't tell you when that's going to be. I mean, only he can. So, I don't necessarily think if he wouldn't have gotten hurt that he would have retired.
Joe Girardi usually 8 innings every spring. Will that change depending on when you get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see how he does. Maybe you see a couple extra live BP sessions with him or something like that, a simulated game. We're just going to take it a day at a time with him, George, and see where he's at and how he feels physically and when he's ready to throw competitively, but I can't tell you you'll see him in more than 8 innings or 7 innings in a real game, but we might give him a little bit more work, strategically. Mostly he's not making any road trips. I busted his chops about it. I said, well, we're going to be gone 2 days. What are you going to do? I'm sure he'll have it strategically planned that neither one of those days are throw days.
Looking back on last year as well, Mariano was being real coy with this. I made a decision, but I'm not going to tell you as far as retirement goes. How do you think the injury and missing last year will affect that decision this year for him?
You know, I really can't tell you. The one thing that I never did, because then I wouldn't have to tell you I don't know, is I never asked him. I never asked him his plans. And I don't think it's fair to really assess a player and what he's going to do until it's about January of an off season. Because I tell you what, there's a lot of guys that get to the month of October and they're physically beat up and they're exhausted. They're saying, oh, this is it, I can't do it anymore. And then November rolls around and your body feels better in December, and then all of a sudden you start to get the itch. You say, you know, I'm going to do it one more year. So, you know, for Mo, who knows when the end's going to be. But right now we have him in camp, and I'm excited about it.
Bruce?
Joe, will there be any organizational restrictions on Mo shagging balls this year?
Only in Kansas City. I don't know when we go to Kansas City. When do we go to Kansas City?
I don't know.
In May. Maybe it'll be too cold to hit, or it'll be rainy and we can't hit. I joked with him. No, that's part of who he is. And I think that's what's, you know, part of his game that has made him great. You know, it's his time to relax and have fun and prepare for the day. So I don't want to take it away from him.
Clyde?
Joe, are you realistically expecting Mariano to be 100% of what he ever was, or could you live with 80 or 90%? What's your expectation?
I don't think that Mo is going to be any different than he would have been if he didn't have the injury. What he was going to be in 2013 if he played 2012 is what we're going to get in 2013. I don't think his knee injury is going to hinder his ability and who he is.
Couple more, if there are any. Sweeney?
So if Derek's allowed to be here as a rehab player, is he plans to be here before position players?
You know, I don't think so. I think he's doing most of his stuff down at the minor league facility, doing his drills and all his work.
Is there anybody else that's going to be joining?
No, it's not that I'm aware of, no.
Art, last one.
Joe, you talked about him, Mo using his legs though, and then obviously the knee is his push-off leg, so I mean, wouldn't it be logical to expect some sort of kind of ramifications just based on that injury? And his age?
Well, I mean, you can say based on his age, but, you know, I know this is apples to oranges, but, you know, Adrian Peterson came back and did pretty well. You know, I mean, knee injuries heal. I mean, doctors have done such a good job with that surgery, I believe, that they heal. Now, when you're older, might it take a little bit longer? Yes. But I think he's had ample time. And I think for what we're asking him to do, you know, we're not asking him to be a starter and use his legs and completely fatigue him for a long period of time. I really don't believe in my heart that it's going to be an issue. Could I be wrong? Of course. But I really believe that it's healed and he's going to be fine.
Joe, we talked to Cervelli earlier about his situation. Do you have any plans or feel the need to talk to him about what's going on with him, just making sure that his head is where it needs to be?
No, as of right now, no, but I'll watch, you know, as we start to play games and we go through all this in spring training, that, you know, if I feel he's distracted, I'll say something to him. But, you know, I watched him go about his work today and he seemed pretty good to me.